How can Giraffe360 help you scale your real estate photography business? How can Giraffe360 help you easily become a digital marketing service provider for your real estate agent clients? And why does that matter? Do the co-founding brothers of Giraffe360 decide on new features with rock, paper, scissors competitions? Stay tuned. Hi all, I am the digital twin of Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. You're watching a special edition of the WGAN-TV Podcast for digital twin creators shaping the future of real estate today. Giraffe360 founder and CEO Mikus Opelts reveals how Giraffe360 enables photographers to be real estate digital marketing service providers in this interview with WGAN-TV Podcast guest host Tom Sparks. Tom is founder and CEO of Scan Your Space, a division of Sparks Media Group. Also, Giraffe360 has a special offer for the WGAN community. Save 10% on the first 12 months. For details and to order, visit giraffe360.com/price and use voucher code WGAN.
Hey everybody, Tom Sparks with Sparks Media Group, and I'm here with Mikus Opelts, the co-founder and CEO of Giraffe360. Thanks for joining me, Mikus.
Thanks, Tom, for inviting. Really looking forward to our chat.
Yeah, so I just am a fan of Giraffe360, and in talking to you in the few conversations that we had in the past, you know, you're intriguing, and I just had some more questions. I want to get to know you a little bit more and see, just kind of dive into everything about you and Giraffe360, if that's okay.
Oh, like I didn't want to speak so much about myself, but yeah, we can. I think I'd more rather speak about the product, what we do, why we do it. But Tom, I don't know. I'm a happy passenger, so we'll follow your lead.
Perfect. So, I think the first question is, why Giraffe360? What made you pick giraffe instead of elephant or kangaroo, or what was it about giraffe that drew you to it?
So the idea. What we have been wrestling with is how to move property transaction to be digital first listing journey. That's been the mantra has evolved, but that's always has been the ethos. And I wanted a logo that kind of symbolizes that seeing more, because we want to essentially show more in a digital environment so people can actually access things, experience them. And then I think my designer sent me a giraffe and said, hey, like giraffe is the thing that sees the most in the savannah. And I was like,
True.
Okay, that's perfect. Like, so we wanted to basically anchor the meaning of the company, of moving from physical first listing journey to digital first listing journey, kind of lifting your head up, seeing over. That thesis was coded in, and 360 stands for full circle. So we're fully integrated. We build hardware to platform. We focus on from photography to immersive video. So the 360 has been kind of symbolizing the full circle approach. So that's why we're Giraffe360.
Nice. How many times have you been asked that question?
Not enough. I felt my answer was also a bit butchery. So it's like, but because I think people always assume it's because of the camera. For some reason, it's the legs and the head that we kind of thought, and I think it's a good assumption. But when sometimes randomly people ask, by the way, why giraffe? Then I have to explain the ethos of showing more, and giraffe's neck is the thing that shows more. And so
cool. So, and correct me if I'm wrong on my research, this was founded in 2016 by you and your brother Madgars, is that right?
Madars, yeah.
Okay. Madars, yeah. In Lativa?
Almost Latvia.
Latvia. Okay, I'm butchering this all around.
No. Like these words are not that easy to pronounce. So it's like for a foreign tongue. So it's like.
Well, thank you for being patient.
But when I go to Starbucks to make my life easy, I'm just Mike.
Mike.
I'm just Mike. Yeah, so I'm just Mike. You have to make
I always
my life
say,
easy.
Call me anything but late for dinner. Don't call me late.
Sure.
So one of the questions I had was, what what was the precise moment that you realized in doing this that you wanted to be kind of a hardware plus software and not just software using some other, random camera?
Yeah, that might sound surprising, but we never wanted to build a camera. And I think that the journey kind of goes in two parts. Back in 2010, I started immersive visualizations business, grew in our Nordic Europe part to be the leading business there. And I was fascinated by immersive experiences, especially worked with museums, real estate developers, five-star hotels, and I really liked Oculus and HTC Vive, the VR headsets. And so we were then drone shooting was very complex at that day and age. We're building touch screens, very cool experiences, but they were kind of going into this direction of very high end experiences. And I think real estate developers was one of my main client categories, where we can build out a sales office. You enter a sales office, there's a 8-inch touchscreen, then you put on an HTC Vive headset, you experience the CGI of the building, and we could build like video game animations and we kind of saw where that whole is trending, and it kind of probably meant that my business needed to go in like a very boutique visualizations, because we didn't saw a mass market adoption. But then we felt like, but the whole real estate and other needed things in the day-to-day life should be digital first. You should have a digital first access, and maybe that comes from because of my age. I think I qualify as millennial, so we grew up by having online banking, we grew up by having an email. I think kind of we assumed like why I couldn't see a real estate remotely, why my modus operandi has to be seeing a photography and going there. So, and the Giraffe360 came together as a concept then. Okay, let's bring this to the quote-unquote mass market. So because my boutique business was successful and growing 100% every year, but every year my project cost just like increased, and that's how I made more money, because I was selling bigger, more immersive projects. So which meant that it always went kind of to more niche clients. And so I kind of like, we started to think, okay, how to bring this to the mass market, and how to kind of streamline that whole capture process. And there was a couple of ways how to go about it, and the first obvious route, we thought you were going to use smartphone, and I think thousands of companies have thought that you could use smartphone for that essential capture device. We played around for 6 months, and then Mothers had this you have these kind of famous quotes in the that kind of change a bit the trajectory of things. And the famous quote there was, he said, hey, we're starting to put that smartphone on a tripod. We're adding a fisheye lens. Then we need the extra light, and we're starting to manipulate it. Wouldn't it be easier just to build a dedicated device that does everything as we need, that scans, captures, renders, so it's like, and we're gonna control the data input, so we can just focus on the outputs. And I think he said that to me, and I said, yeah, it's like, how hard it could be to build a camera. So probably $20-30 million later, it wasn't that easy. But like the Giraffe Pro is like, it's I don't know, it's amazing. So it's like, it's also doable. But it always was about output, always was about building digital first listing journey, and how to move that property experience more online, how to build these experiences from 3D interactions, and just like the hardware was the way to get to it. But we realized that we were taking, and in my first business, we were using pretty much, I was doing virtual tours with Canon with a I think we used 14mm lens, but we had this mount that you moved manually with your hand. Then we had a stitching software. I'm now blanking on the name of the stitching software where we put the panoramas together.
PT GUI or something?
Yeah, PT GUI was one of them. Then KR Pano was already very advanced for putting the virtual tour together. At first we were using Pano VR maybe, but that was a long time ago. and these software. So in a sense, since 2010, we've been kind of playing around with, from drones to video cameras to lasers, like when we were creating these very high-end projects. So I think we had a good sense on what's on the market, and we just like the whole and if there would have been tools that we could use, the Giraffe 360 would never have been born as a let's build a real mass market product that everyday listing could afford to do it, which was the pretty much the starting thesis.
So let me ask, I'm just curious. I have a family member who designed a product, and he went through like, I don't know, 7 different designs. He had to get tooling for each one of the designs. He had to get them made. He had to test them. Then he had to figure out what didn't work. And there's just a lot of time, a lot of money spent. Like, what's the first step for you when you decide, or when your brother says, hey, light bulb moment, let's just make a camera? Like, do you get online and say, who can make me a camera? Or like, what was the first step like for you to actually start creating the camera itself? Did you have to go find a hardware person to be able to put it all together, or did you have to source companies for the different, items, the lens and the chips? And
there is a pros and cons being from a small country. So Latvia is 2 million people, and the pros and cons from living in a small, coming from a small country is that you also know pretty much everyone in your country, so you have a reach. As an analogy that I want to make, I probably met last 5 presidents, and it's like not like a big deal, because like in a small country you actually have a chance to meet each other. So I think in a sense we are sometimes a bit blessed that we can go cross disciplines very easily, because I know a guy, or you can reach, and we have this one really good technical university, and in Latvia we have a very strong background in robotics. So and we knew that we can go to this technical university. It's literally called the Riga's Technical University, and there are talented people who build robots, and we can go there, and kind of that kind of elevated the journey to actually to arrive to a prototype. And today I think it's a very not known fact is Giraffe is actually all produced, engineered and manufactured in-house. So we build these cameras in our facility, but it's a mix of prototyping center. So even the LiDAR that we use in the camera, it's our own design. We're not purchasing a third party and putting in. We were using it for the first version, but as with many things, we then learned that it's not good enough for what we want. And now for the last 2 models, we're building our own LiDAR. But that kind of goes back to your answer. So over the years, we built a prototyping and small batch manufacturing. So as a company we grow, and we need to kind of produce tens of thousands of units monthly, I think then we will be in a position where we actually need to contract a manufacturer in somewhere. But at this point, we are like engineer, and so we actually can move from design iterations the fastest. We released the Go model. I think it's like now a bit more than 2 years, and here we are coming out with the Pro Camera. I don't think you see, and we are comparing to some of the players in our space. We are like a small company. We're 200 people. For this size of technology, that's not something crazy. And we can go from iteration to iteration, and in every model there's actually like constant updates, and so hence also I assume you will want to touch upon that later on. I think to some extent we made our life easy when we decided on day one that we will be a subscription business. So we don't think about actually as a kit as like we are manufacturing this kit and now we just need to make money as a business. We are thinking them as the tools that our partners use. And if in the middle of the process we learn, we should swap this part and this will work better, we actually don't like even need to name that it's a new product. We just like start putting it in and shipping to the clients, so it kind of makes we can just be focused on that output. But going back to your question, yeah. So we ended up building a full-on R&D. We have a whole camera facility that actually has most of the machinery. We even do molds in-house. To give you a sense, we have tons of 3D printers. So we go from prototype to a first production design in quite a kind of. We always feel it's anyway has been slow, but I think we move very quickly. But we assembled that through step by step in a small country. People, gather the best talent, and yeah, and kind of we just go from there.
Well, you mentioned robotics, so I have a feature request. I
Mm-hmm.
need Pro Camera version 5.
Fair.
I want to set it up at the front door, hit a button, and then I want to go get some lunch, and I want to have it walk around the house and do the actual scans.
Yeah.
You already have
Yeah.
automated tripods that go up and down, so we just got to make it move left to right, upstairs, downstairs.
I'm not sure if I will regret it, or somebody on my team gonna then message an angry post to me. But that prototype semi-built is kind of already there.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like I've been toying around with
Yeah.
this thing could fly, this thing could kind of be autonomous, and I'm not sure when and in what shape it's gonna actually meet like a consumer level.
Yeah, yeah.
But that also comes from a push. I think there is, but there are no. Let me rephrase it. I think this thing actually is not the one which are in the immediate releases. But we obviously, if you go to our factory, you actually can see some prototypes in this way, and there's some autonomous ideas that we've been toying around.
Yeah. It's exciting. Exciting. So you just launched the Pro Camera pretty much. If I forced you to pick one spec that would change the outcome for photographers, what is it and why? If
Mm-hmm.
is it LiDAR? Is it the storage space on it, the scanning density, speed of
Mm-hmm.
capture? What changes the outcome?
Yeah. There's quite a few things to mention there because of just the vastness of the product. But I will answer a question directly. I will start from our from our panorama model. The camera builds a panorama model, and I think a thought that we haven't expressed before, and I think we're realizing is not coming across when people look on the first impression. Our panoramic model, which is a walkthrough model of a building, is actually built on the principles how photography work. So if you open Giraffe's panoramic model, all the windows will be, we do window masking. So you will never have overexposed windows. We do a blue sky replacement in panoramas. People assume only these things in photography.
Yeah.
We have moved those workflows to the panoramas. You can remove objects. You can blur stuff. So I think now when the people see the panoramic model, they are very impressed. Especially photographers are very like they didn't expect the functionality that comes with the panoramic model, which then means that your virtual tours can be really high res experiences, and then you can produce videos based on this source material. And though a caveat, this also works on our Go camera. Just like there are certain advantages that with the Pro comes. I think our especially today, I think I look back on our release event, and we spoke with my brother, and we spoke like I think we don't actually elaborate on that panoramic model, that it's designed on principles of photography and on photography editing. You can also edit individual panoramas, their saturation, the exposures. There is which I don't think that there is a solution out there that does that. The more related with the Pro camera specifically release, I think it's the second aspect now, how we build a Gaussian splat model, We have this Gaussian immersive model that's built from panoramas and point clouds, and these panoramas that I just mentioned into the panoramic model, then they breed the quality into that Gaussian model, and Gaussian model unlocks lots of video rendering. One of Pro Camera actually came together from two aspects. The second aspect of that was that we wanted to add like a very immersive video solution that allows social media communication, so people can post very, very, very high engaging reels. So even though you asked me about the Pro Camera, I could go in the tech specs, but I think that tech specs is like, we're doing that for the outputs that you can achieve, and
Yeah.
I think it's kind of so. The third model I didn't mention is our point cloud model. So we call this as a digital twin. That's the digital twin that Giraffe Pro Camera scans. It creates three fundamental models. It creates a panoramic model, which is photorealistic, that's built on how photographers actually think about pictures. We have now applied that to the panoramas. Then you have the Gaussian model, which is for immersion, mostly for the video renderings. And then the third model is the point cloud model, which is the geometric base. Basically, you take all the measurements, and the new camera comes with much denser lidar. We that's how we started the development. We saw that we can build much better lidar, and we can improve the accuracy and I don't want to butcher the numbers. I'm a bit blanking, but I think it's like goes from 30 centimeters to 30 meters is the range in which we can provide this very high accuracy. So yeah.
Nice. So I don't know how to word this one, but I'll just say it how I want to say it, and you can fill it in. But what's done in camera versus in the cloud as far as capture processing? How much of it is in camera versus the cloud?
Pretty much no processing is happening in the camera. Like, there's caveat to that, but it's the simple way how to think about Giraffe this system is that camera captures, cloud renders. There is some compression happening in the camera to help the file upload speeds, and we build very important in the Pro Camera is how we build the SLAM, which builds the pretty much the floor plan of the space as you move around. But still, in this version, the rendering volume, post-processing volume that happens in the camera is very, 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 very light. Pretty much all the action happens in the cloud, and in the cloud, those are actually also machines. Maybe I can do a plug here. Most of the rendering time that right now happens for the files is majority of that is upload and download, because user uploads it to the cloud, then we download that to our machines, and then we start the rendering, and then the finished files we upload back to the server. They first go through the quality assurance, and then they go back to the AWS server, and then a user receives, oh, my photos are back. So for photography, that's today is like 2 to 3 hours, but for heavier files, for all the videos and others, that can take more. So but actually all this upload download right now is taking more time than the actual rendering itself.
Yeah. Talking about, I guess, privacy and security, currently there's not a way to download an offline copy and not have it stored. Is that accurate? And then I guess the second part of that question is there any plans to have that going forward? I guess, the use case that's brought up a lot is a lot of government type entities don't like using other brands because they have to be hosted. There's a few brands that you can download offline copies and not have it hosted. Is that something in the works, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that actually comes down to our client requests. If our client's gonna push for that, then we can accommodate. I think today, when you look on the dashboard where a user receives all the contents, then all the final products can be downloaded, but I guess that was one of your point. Like you can download JPEG photography, but you can't necessarily access the TIFF file, like a bigger source file,
More
and
importantly,
you
the
can't
tour,
the tour.
the virtual tour.
And the tour, it's built more like a website, so tour doesn't have like a one file.
Yeah,
Actually, back in the days, I think when we were doing tours in Flash, that was like a one file. That
yeah,
was like 15 years ago. Like now, and so you actually have those assets, so they have to sit somewhere on a server, and I think there are ways if there are like if there's real customer push for, hey, we would want our tours to be downloadable as a single file. I think we can think about that workaround. Just that the market necessity hasn't been there, and we don't work with clients who need this for like intelligence agencies
yeah,
or law enforcement who would want to really actually privatize and not to and that but also straight away involved that doesn't go through our central rendering. You want actually a localized render machine in your facility that renders, gives you back files, and so we today are strong and hyper focused on residential real estate. So I think this what happens when my files pops up, but in real life nobody really wants, or we don't see big enough push for people to be worried what happens with my files if I because you need server to store it, because you anyway will need link to access it. It's not like photography, point cloud you can download, video you can download, but virtual tour it's a bunch of assets. There's not like one file. And yeah, so it's just like that's why that one file is just not been possible today to download as a single unit. But for everything else, you can download the produced versions.
yeah. There's you mentioned one file, which is interesting. That would be cool. There's one of the other brands. It's like you just downloaded a bunch of HTML files, and they're all like hot linked, I think, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's not just one file, so maybe you don't have to shoot for that and have just one file download for the virtual tour, but it could be just kind of some embeddable HTML, or maybe there's some sort of viewer. But I was thinking like use cases of we did a hotel recently that didn't have very good internet connection, and it didn't have any cell phone service. And so if somebody was on site and they wanted to see in the lobby a tour of the property, um, how would they do that if there's no internet, no cell
Yeah.
phone? And so an offline copy of that might be useful.
I did that 50 years ago for the events. That was typically the problem. Or
Yeah,
like the events were charging crazy amounts for those event internets,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
the 5G, 4G didn't exist.
yeah,
And then there was, and so the yeah, we were creating offline files for these. I think nothing was happening online. But I think that's Tom is the answer. I think if there is enough push, and not like a push like it doesn't have to be aggressive. It's like if there's enough demand for that use case, we can like we built the camera from the ground up. We can figure out
right.
how to
That's
give you. I
easy.
think.
That's easy.
I think that there, but there's so many ideas which to accommodate on.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that on my side. I haven't seen that offline use case actually being that strong. But sometimes it pops up, so it kind of goes back to pre what's like what to prioritize
yeah,
in like this huge feature rich requirement world. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Everybody has an idea.
yeah.
Um, okay, so I'm kind of jumping around and back to when you and your brother thought of creating this. I'm sure you shared it with some family or friends. Um, what was their kind of unfiltered reaction, and how did that shape, your resolve to do this?
Yeah. Luckily or not, I think we're stubborn enough that we don't need to share this with anyone. So I
Oh,
think we just decided that we will make sense to do it. I think we often operate from just like I think that the popular term I hear is in Silicon Valley is this first principles. I think we just I'm not sure if we necessarily operate from first principles, but I think we just operate from does that make like would that does that make sense? Does that need to happen like that? I think and yeah, we need a scalable system that can create immersive digital first real estate. It doesn't have to be that complex, manual labor driven. It can be more automated. Oh yes, seems like we have to build a camera. Okay, like I think as soon as we arrive to a thought that this is what needs to be done, then and that comes often as a problem. We never discuss whether that's actually smart to do it or it will be hard to do it. Like if this is the thing to do, then I think it seems like we just assume and we don't even like need to really decide. It's like, okay, if it makes sense, then let's go and do it. And so that's how we end up building camera. That's how we end up like building like, because it makes sense that and then and so I don't think we told the idea to anyone. I think we just
so no uncle was like, you're crazy or nothing like that.
I think that's already implied. That comes by design. I think kind of yeah.
So is your brother? He's active in the company. What's his kind of day-to-day role?
Also, mothers mostly oversee all the tech development, and I think that's how we. But then we kind of cross-reference in many areas. So I think lots of the lines are blurry or they change quarter over quarter depending on what's the new business requirement is.
Yeah. If you get into a situation where you have that kind of headbutting, how do you, with your brother, how do you solve that? Is it paper, rock, scissors, or is it
no.
I'm older, so you got to listen to me, or what's the result?
No, I'm younger, so I can't play that card. So
okay.
But no, it's like it's just blood. It's blood, and we fight until we arrive at the decision. So I think I'm less patient. He's more patient. So when we played chess as kids, he has this stalling tactic that he could just think very long between the moves.
Oops.
And I always got too bored. But I think I've got better at this. I can't be as easily stalled. I think it's now just very brutal. But we don't. There's no compromise. We have to kind of just like fundamentally to agree, and it can be 5 minutes, it can be weeks or months, but there's no framework. There's just blood all over the place, and then a fight until the agreement is reached. There's no fancy mechanics behind it.
So there's some videos out there now that are popping up with the Pro Camera kind of reviews. I've put one out there. There's a few other that I've seen. How is it for you? This is your baby, and you see these YouTube videos popping up, and there's feedback, whether that's good or bad. I guess I want to know more of how do you handle the criticism, the constructive criticism about some of the features or some of the processes, or just whatever the criticism is. Are you sitting there like, oh, I gotta say something to them, or are you like, how are you handling seeing that?
Oh no, I think it doesn't even cross my mind that we have to say. I think we just like say, oh, we either haven't explained this good enough, we haven't and we really actively watch on the reviews. They actually feed our now product and marketing, how we some of that is just framing, and then we decide, but one of the things it kind of made us really think from the last week's reviews, what we didn't anticipate, that there are way more elephants in the room. I think because I think we have approached this, let's build a system, and we have been very clear on what we want to achieve. We're focused on that residential consumer journey that we can build. We can provide media for every single platform, from social to listing. We can render now websites, and we can really drive up that real estate marketing to the next level. I think we see from the existing users, we are selling property. People who use Giraffe So properties at least 7 days faster than not using Giraffe. That's a real stat that we keep tracking. And I think now when we have launched the Pro and we are actively speaking to photographers, we see that there's lots more elephants in the room. There are other brands, other cameras. I think there's lots of perception. How does those technologies work? And that kind of it seems like people assume that ours work in a similar way. And one of the examples is, I think we saw in the reviews that that's why I already spoke about our panoramic model, that the way we have been building our panoramic model, I think we're now going to have to go back and actually like double down on it, how that whole panoramic model works. The thing we spoke about this morning in a meeting, I think, which hasn't come across our first release, is that we want to work with photographers and we want to celebrate the skill of our artistic skill of doing photography. And we have now designed the whole virtual tour solution on our panoramic model that you can apply your personal style. On photography, you can build your settings how you want our AI system to render your images, because when you use the product, you see what's the market averages. That's basically the editing style.
Yeah.
But Tom, you have your experience, your understanding what your clients wants. Someone else, Rob, has his, and I think we have been thoughtful in our platform building that you can build like a presets that the system does job as you see it, and you can see that not only in photography, you can apply that approach in how you then build like virtual tours. What are your flexibilities? Now you can become a video creator. You don't need to become a professional video producer, but you can use the Giraffe rendered to build your own styles. And anyway, I think it's kind of like from the reviews we saw last week, we jumped on this notion that we should better demonstrate our panoramic model capabilities. B, we should better demonstrate how you can build your own style using Giraffe360, because it's not actually a solution that just comes with like one template.
Yeah.
And third, that this is a really good way how you can scale your business and go outside of just asset production, and you can go into the what's more a full real estate marketing service, because today there's so much centricity around photography, and just like so the photography quality is great that it seems to be missed that you have way more real estate media, and what real estate agents really need is the whole marketing package to work. I know you provide your website solution, so you might now look on Giraffe solution, and I think it's for you to decide if ours is not as good as yours, don't use it. But if it's good, then maybe you can integrate in your system and we can personalize so it fits for your clients. I think there are depending on your individual case, like with you, Tom, it's a website, but there are thousands of other real estate photographers that doesn't provide website today to their clients.
Right.
I don't see video being provided almost at all as a default solution, and I think what we definitely learned from the reviews is that there is still because the existing industry is so heavy on photography, and there's so much kind of just like the millions of hours that everybody has spent, there's kind of maybe over indexing on photography, and that's and we have failed at maybe really emphasizing the broader opportunities with the Giraffe platform. And that's something we're gonna hopefully do a better job this week and the next week, and like so. But seeing the reviews, these are some of the things we end up thinking about. But the reviews actively feed how we think, or should we change something, and individual these calls. I think we don't even though you're interviewing me for the podcast purpose, but you're actually influencing maybe some of the decisions how we end up in doing some things.
Nice. Well, I got a list. And I posted some of the deliverables on a Facebook photography group, and some of the feedback I got from the photos were like, "Oh, this is scary how great this looks." And I think I'm gonna have to start offering something similar to this, or I'll be out of business soon. Is some of the kind of responses that I've got. Um, Speaking to kind of elephants in the room, what would you say are like the two or three biggest elephants that maybe two, three, depending on how many you can think of that you'd like to address or just kind of talk about? That could be anything from the product itself to competitors or, whatever. What would two or three of them be?
Number one, you mentioned the AI. Let me, because you brought it up, I think I wanna double click on that.
Okay.
AI will not replace photographer, like period. I think, but I think I also, and we didn't appreciate how much fear we might be setting in our messaging. That, to your point, lots of people could look on Giraffe photography that comes out of the box, and we render that in what 2 to 3 hours now is the average rendering time. So you go to the property a few hours later, and I mentioned that most of that time is upload download. So imagine if we like where that will be in a year, in a year, how quickly you'll be able to get like marketing polished photography. But it doesn't mean that the photographer is going away. Two things. One thing is just the market setup into the US. There are 5 million homes sold a year, and there are 3 million real estate agents. Real estate agents themselves will, in most cases, will not. They just don't have enough listings with which to operate with.
Yeah.
So you end up that you need something like 50,000 people that service this industry. I specifically residential real estate, and then you can work in many verticals, but maybe I will, for the sake of argument, I will just be focused on residential real estate as we can be then very specific on. But I think what is at risk, what's elephant in the room is like, if you just stick to photography, there could be new generation of real estate media creator who says to the real estate agent, let me provide you marketing service. And instead of we debate whether photography has enough saturation, white balance is accurate, or whether the windows are overexposed or not. Let's actually make sure that you post your listing every week. You have a new video that gets a very good engagement. Let's make sure that all the inquiries funnel to your own independent website that you control. That's not just sitting on the listing site. Let's make sure that your property can be found on listing sites, and properties with floor plans with 360 tours get straight away. They have even special search boxes for that. And I think that new style of real estate media marketing supplier is risking to make a person who just does a photography as an art form to be extinct. And I think, but photography needs to, it will not be extinct, but it will not be used in like in as much scale. But doesn't mean that there is a problem with photography. It's just that photography knowledge and approach now. Giraffe's suggestion is we can scale that. We can scale that to full real estate media. You can scale that, and we can apply the knowledge and principles from photography to all now real estate media. And we can start doing real estate marketing, and that's where the residential industry needs a tremendous help. Because, for example, give you stats we have been using in our webinar. Second most requested thing. Content by home buyers is floor plan. Do you know how many listings in America gets floor plan?
30%?
Oh no, you're generous. It's 15.
Wow.
I'm now. Wait, don't remember if it was 14 or 17. It's like below 20.
Okay.
And so it's like kind of like and so consumers and agents agents like just think, oh, I need my photography, but I'm not sure whom to throw a jab at, but consumers like consumers do like video is expected at 80% of listings when 9% of listings gets video. So you have real opportunity to go to the agent and say, hey, from tomorrow on, let's do all real estate media, and actually let me help with your real estate marketing. And so you might be even, because of the AI, you no longer need to spend so much time on editing. You can scale your business. And lots of that editing skills, yes, goes away. I remember my old days on Photoshop, but I'm not now missing them. It's like kind of like
Yeah.
I did the
No.
listing yesterday. And so it's like some of that kind of romantic work on goes away. Also on the capture side, but you'll unlock new things. And I think the elephant in the room. I think AI. Maybe this is the last point I can add on this topic is that
Yeah.
AI doesn't have an opinion what's good or bad. So our AI has been built on how our clients say what I want photography to look like. So we have arrived to an average style. But if you, Tom, from Tom Sparks Media, wants to say, okay, I think the photography should look like this. This is the style for the 3D tour. This is the website layout adoption I want to make for my users. You can basically set up so Giraffe System A delivers you like that. And on a longer scale, we can train the models to fit your style preference, because actually photographer in this industry is the person who has an understanding of quality, even though it's such a subjective thing. And so and you actually need to train the AI to do the job in your quality, in your style. And so AI will only be able to execute what we request them to do. And then there's these two threads. One thread is impacting how we train our models so we deliver the result that you need. And B is actually using our settings and presets to get to the result that you're arriving for. And then I don't think it's like, and maybe it's like this already to kind of overuse the statement, but I think AI in this case can be just embraced as like an opportunity to increase the gross margin. Last point, and then I will shut up rambling on this
No,
topic.
you're good.
Is that the content rendering costs because of the AI is just like going. Like Giraffe now comes out with 360 projects, $360 a month, and that renders you photography, floor plan, website, creates brochures, email marketing, like and then we now have 5-6 templates live. You're probably gonna have 10-20 templates early next year. By some point next year, you might be even having 50 templates
Yeah.
with different video styles. But and my promise is that we will not try to add a new content or a new template and suddenly charge you guys. Like AI system renders it. There's no there's no additional cost for additional one asset rendering. When there will be costs, we will figure out how to work with our partners. And but suddenly what took constant cost and lots of time and working with a third party supplier, maybe out of country, now you can do it at a fixed rate, and so your margin actually is going up. So maybe that's a simpler way how to look on in the opportunity from the AI. Your margin is going up because in the way how market is constructed, the photographer, there is a place for a consultant service supplier to exist. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. So I'll share a little personal story with me, and it's going to be tied into a question for you. But when I first started residential real estate photography, I've been a photographer since 97, 98, 1998. But I didn't start doing residential real estate until around 2015, 2016. My very first client hired me to photograph a house. I did. And, I've edited family photos and weddings and all this stuff. I'd never edited real estate photos. I bracketed, it was 3 brackets, not 5, and I had no clue how to do it. So I went and downloaded a program that would kind of automate it. And I used the program and I thought it looked decent. I sent it to her and she just had a lot of constructive criticism for me. Um,
Constructive criticism.
yeah, and so then I went and tried to fix it, and this is a fun fact that I've recently spoke about, but I'm colorblind, so
Oof.
I can see certain colors, but how I interpret them and how I deal with them is going to be way different than everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. So interesting.
And so she just was not happy. And the saving grace for me was I said, okay, I immediately need to find an editor who can do this. Just because it took some time to even run it through the software, and I just didn't want to have any part of editing. Um, so I needed to find an editor, but I needed to find an editor so that I could stay in business, keep getting
Yeah.
clients. And so it was too late to go back to her on this project. She had, already moved on, sold the house, not moved on from me, but sold the house. So the next project that she had, I said, I feel horrible about the experience you had with the first, house. Let me shoot your next house for free, and these will be way better. And so sure enough, she hired me, or she, used me on the next house. I didn't charge her, paid the editor whatever their price was, gave her the images, and she loved them. And this one agent single-handedly told everybody in her office about me, everybody that she knew that was not in her office about me, and she really is the start of Sparks Media Group. So I was wondering, for you and for Giraffe360, what was an example kind of similar to that where, had I not said, I'll shoot your next house for free, if I just came at her and said, well, you get what you get, she probably wouldn't have used me again. But because I kind of went above and beyond, or I, did what was right for her and said, I'll shoot your next one for free since I butchered this first one. I was just curious, has there been an example for Giraffe360 where, had you decided to do something different, there might not be a Giraffe360?
Yeah, there are, but I think the examples that comes to my mind are a bit. I'm not sure if like they're useful for us in this new iteration, but
No, I'm
we
just
have
curious, just from a personal point of view of
yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah.
handled something.
I think when we were shipping the first cameras, they were breaking a lot, the hardwares themselves, and in Europe, like we launched obviously Europe, we started US recently, and WhatsApp is the means of communication. That's the most, I think
Yeah.
everybody just uses WhatsApp for yeah, it just like yeah, it's the thing. And yeah, the first 100 clients I had on my WhatsApp, and so it was usually Saturday early. You wake up from the message coming in with a picture of camera not working, and but I think on early days, and then it trickled through organizational culture. We really like wanted, we cared about the client. We still care about the client, but we're always been going kind of beyond the what's expected, and I think there have been so many instances um, where we tried to, because the cameras, the early models had we were even Wi-Fi antennas into the kits, so we were able to connect to them remotely.
Oh,
And there were so many cameras that we were trying to fix from a distance, and then if you can't, pick a camera, drive to a client, give them a new camera, swap it around. And our problem is that we are like straight away across different geographies. It's not like
yeah.
we can just like, if you start your business in like one city, it's like going extra mile is a bit easier. When your extra mile means like a 9 hour car drive, and you want, and your photographer or real estate agent in that case says, I'm going to shoot a property at like 9 a.m. and you just do the red night drive, and just like, so make sure that they at 9 a.m. they have the cameras. And so I think there's on those crusades there has been so many instances where we go beyond what's expected. Kind of how do we service the client, and that end up lots of, I think, early users just stick to us because we have
Yeah.
subscription business. So you don't have too much of a commitment depending on the whether you're going a monthly or in 12 months. Um, and you can just like cancel the subscription and if you're on a monthly and I guess it would have been easy to say, okay, like let's just move on to the next client, but like or let's build a better model and then let's go back. But I think we always have been very responsive. I think today, if you message Giraffe support, you get an answer in 3 minutes. You actually have a meaningful service. And we have been trying actually to, why I made the caveat, because we have been trying to get away from this service mentality, because we're a tech company and our product, the technology that we do has to be in the front and center with the product and what it does, and then we have a good service as like a full package kind of like a deal. I think we don't want to be just known as like a really good at service and then our product doesn't deliver. But I think on those early days we saved tons of clients' relationships by going always an extra mile, and probably still we do. Though to some extent, sometimes as a building tech, now looking back, it might have been even smarter just to fail, admit that you fail, and restructure, because that's the difference between a service business and a tech business. But yeah, we I think we really care that our users use the product. Going back, I said we're a subscription. That's why we don't sell you a product and then you can't reach us if we work with you. I think what we haven't worked out is how we can better structure these relationships, because we actually try to listen to all the feedbacks, try to incorporate them, figure out how do we improve the solution to work especially for you. I think it just sometimes gets overwhelming when you have tens of thousands of people needing needing to satisfy and yeah, but yeah, that's a bit of another point.
Yeah, it's interesting how much loyalty you get for doing the right thing, being very good customer service focused. And then it's interesting to see how a business scales. I don't want to say that customer service suffers, but it's very hard to keep scaling a business as a priority and have customer service as an equal priority. Something, for me anyway, in my business, it's like, okay, if I really want to push up scaling and products that I deliver and the coverage area, customer service is going to drop slightly, is what I've experienced. Is that something that you've experienced too?
Not, I actually think vice versa. But in a way where on the early days, everything was personal, but I could service like first 100 clients. My phone, if my phone rings, I pick up, whether it's 2 a.m. or 5 a.m., I pick up. But then like once you go over some level of clients, you just actually can't scale that service. And I think we figured out quite a few years ago, I think it was 3-4 years ago, that like it's all about systems and how you design systems. So I think they introduced some complexity for the user, that okay, I don't have like this one contact that I can call to and like resolve everything in this planet. I think so we struggle with that part, that you can't provide that white glove service because we have been so much used to it that we can have a meaningful conversation. Like we don't have a third party support teams. Like everything has to be meaningful and people need to answer real problem. But we fix it by building teams, and then I think it works better, because when I look on Sava, who oversees our support tickets, and the team, or Sami's team on the customers, I think individually each of those people to do 10 times better job than I could do. I was doing individually, but it's because it now works as a system and scales. It still fails somewhere on like I think the not kind of, but also individual person could fail. Like you could be sick and then you don't provide that perfect service, or yes, you didn't pick up that phone and couldn't actually resolve. I don't know all the technical questions. I couldn't resolve the problem. I think but how to build a system that's smarter than every individual. Building that system has been very challenged, but I would say like our CSAC score is 93. Our NPS score is around 80s. I would say we have been succeeding on these metrics, and they have been going up. But it's been like a systems first mindset, but even if you send a chat on Instagram, a message, that actually message will be flagged and it will be trickled down. Even though we don't have a ticketing system that goes from Instagram to like a support chat, but there's actually somebody who will check it and decide, oh, this person has a problem, or this is a prospect who wants to buy a product. Let me get it to the right person. So I think we're still at that size where we could where we are being thoughtful about every single touch point. Hopefully, yeah. You tell me. You tell me if you interact with us from the outside. So it's like maybe maybe you see differently.
All the interactions have been great. I mean, it was maybe 4 emails, and then I get to talk to you. So that's like, can't do that.
You could have just messaged me, and we would have jumped on the chat straight away.
Yeah.
So there's
I know, we're about an hour in, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. I had one more question, I think, for this round. I could probably talk to you for 8, 10, 12 hours. But for this round of interview, you've talked a lot about subscription. I'm just curious why you chose subscription over outright purchase of a camera. What led to that decision?
3 things. One thing is we never wanted to be in a camera business. We build experiences, a digital first listing journey, and second, because of my first business, I had this mantra: where your money comes from is where your essentially focus going to be. My first business was selling these immersive projects, and so I end up just being focused as a founder, CEO. I just end up being focused on how to sell the next project. So, and I spoke at length about service subscription today. This was actually the ethos that we launched the company with. We want to be focused on a lifetime journey with you.
Yeah.
And if you, Tom, pay me $360 a month, suddenly, and I every month report, hey, did Tom cancel or didn't cancel? It allows actually the whole business to be focused on you as a client on the journey, because however you spin that cat, when things get back to the business, and if you as a company make money for selling cameras, there will be a department, there will be board meeting decision, there will be, let's sell more cameras, and that will somehow compromise what the company does. And if you're a pure hardware thing, that probably is a good thing. But we never wanted to, like, that's why you can't just get the Giraffe camera that works. It works with our software, and we want to integrate with other softwares that you saw. We launched the integration with Gemini, so you can do virtual staging in Giraffe platform. That's a Gemini integration. Our descriptions are done with ChatGPT. Those are integrations in our platform. So if we are happy to partner with lots of softwares, because well, at the end of the day, we're just obsessed. How do we give to the industry this ability to really design really good online experiences for the consumers, and so fully integrated system from Giraffe also doesn't mean that, but you don't have to pay for Gemini subscription. We just take care of it on the back end. Like, you don't have to pay for ChatGPT integration in Giraffe platform. But we focus on that service and how to provide the value, and we want for the next decade to work with you. And so it's like, and so that subscription is just like that. That's how we want to live. I want to wake up every day and paranoid. Oh, what if Tom really cancels tomorrow because he no longer sees the value in using Giraffe platform? Then instead of like, let's run a beautiful campaign, let's sell our cool cameras, and then like, let's figure out the new campaign 3 years down the line when we need to launch the new camera. Yeah.
I kind of chuckled when you mentioned Gemini, because I use it currently to make funny graphics of family members in a group thread. And the reason I chuckled was because I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get the Gemini icon off the bottom right of the screen. So when you mentioned that you partnered with them for virtual staging, I was thinking in my head, is the little logo going to show up on the bottom right of the image?
I don't know. I didn't saw it. Let me double check
It's
it.
like a little
I
like,
don't.
star or whatever that shape is. Yeah,
I know. I played around it. I want to say no. I think we have it removed, but maybe we have. I don't know what's our relationship partnership terms
yeah.
dictate that, and but we have a API integration with them, and you use Gemini through our platform. And again, we don't need to hide it. You use Giraffe photography because that
Yeah.
Gemini is really good at staging the properties. But you have done the capture with Giraffe photography. You have everything in the interface, and you can stage it. And maybe as the time goes, if we find 5 other good staging tools, we want to bring them into our platform.
Yeah.
And so you have really easy access to what our because virtual staging was really pushed by lots of users like industry. It's like, okay, we have to bring a good tool for people to use, and we didn't saw that we can build a better thing that's out there. So let's definitely use it, which wasn't the case with the camera.
Yeah. Well, I like your answer on on why subscription, and that makes sense because how many times have you went somewhere and bought a camera or bought anything, and you may not be happy with it, so it just sits on your shelf, and that company doesn't really know, and they don't have the right channels to receive that feedback of this sucks.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so that makes sense. If you were okay, last question, I promise, last question. If you were in an elevator, and there's a photographer in there, and you were telling them about Giraffe 360, and they said, let's see, no, I'm not going to word that right. Okay, what would be the quick one-liner that you would tell them on selling them on the benefit of having the subscription base versus paying for it outright? Does that make sense? So you're in the elevator, they're like, well, all my other cameras I just buy outright. How come I can't buy this one outright? What would be your main topic or your main reasoning for them?
Giraffe sometimes updates even daily, version to version. With having a subscription, you have the latest and greatest. If you think that there can be time boxed where something is good enough, but we just don't operate by that principle. Like we keep pushing the tech boundary, the product boundary. So the latest and greatest from Giraffe. So it's firmwares keep updating. We sometimes update the internal parts in the kit. So it's so you can get the latest and greatest. And I'm gonna go over that minute because I think I want to address that elephant in the room. I think photographers, and I remember from my business that I think modus operandi is like, let me buy the thing. I think it's like kind of, that's been and there is distrust into subscriptions, that they are kind of these tie you in, not very kind of in-depth platforms. But I think I went a bit at length to actually explain that these are the real reasons why we ended up being why we started to be subscription business. We decided we'll be subscription before we knew we were going to have a camera, and we see we can provide tons of value. But I see the elephant in the room in that place, that like photographers naturally would want to rather go and just like buy the kit, and because that's just how you guys have been operating, or I would include myself in the category we have been operating.
Yeah.
But I would pitch it through the lens that, but they're like, take a monthly contract, take a monthly Giraffe subscription, have flexibility, because if 6 months later you will not have built good enough business out of it, you will not have something sitting on a desk, or just take it for a month. And now we're even providing 60-day money back guarantee for the Giraffe for the early subscribers. And don't take the 12-month subscription. Fair. Don't go in that 12-month subscription. Take a monthly subscription and figure out the part in your business that works. And if the value from you paying us $360 is not greater, then we are fine. Like, send that message and we will cancel your subscription. But I wanted to really address that thing, because I think there is a disconnect. But this is not a low tier, like a cheeky product. This is like a full in-depth solution. Anyway, I think
not low tiered at all. And to your point about the updates, the constant updates, Elsa. Is that Elsa? Am I saying?
Yeah, Elsa. Yeah.
Yeah, she emailed she emailed me at least once already and said, hey, I just want to let you know this is coming. And then she's like, okay, it's live now. Go ahead and update your camera. So I found that very helpful that not only am I getting those emails saying, hey, we got an update, but it's also kind of more personal. It's coming from her. It's not like a general, hey, everybody. She said, hey, Tom, I just want to let you know this is coming. Check it out.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that.
And to I think now especially the head like Pro is releasing. I think we're shipping like meaningful updates. Seems like even bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Those are meaningful. There are daily updates that happen on the rendering system. Like there's constant progress. But it seems like we are on a good cadence. Like even bi-weekly, there's like a meaningful. Like I scanned my last property 4 weeks ago, and then I did this weekend. Yesterday, I did this beautiful seaside property by Cape Royale, and there's a I wouldn't say night and day difference between some of the things, but there's like enough that like there's like a big difference from how the scan was going on the capture cadence, speed, now the flexibilities that comes in. So I think every 2-3 weeks now we're gonna have some constant progress, and we don't time them. We push them out once they're ready. We test them. It's not like we're gonna have like a big announcement. It's like we're product builders. We keep building the best thing, and once it's ready, we ship it out. There's no then marketing event planning happening. I think we jump on a webinar that just try to summarize. Okay, this is what's happening. It's kind of like
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna do my little outro. So hang tight, don't hang up. Let me get this real quick. Well, thank you, Mikus. I appreciate your time today. I think we covered a lot, little over an hour, and I truly appreciate it. And if anybody wants more information on how they can subscribe, where should they go?
Go to giraffe360.com/US. There's a shop. You can subscribe for a Giraffe camera for $360 a month, and it's a 60-day money back guarantee. So if the product doesn't work, you'll be able to return it. But yeah, please come and try it out.
Nice. Well, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tom. Really good talking to you.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom and Mikus. Save 10% on the first 12 months. For details and to order, visit giraffe360.com/price and use voucher code WGAN. If you have follow-up questions about the Giraffe Pro Camera or the Giraffe 360 Photographer Program, please post them in the We Get Around Network forum at wegetaroundnetworkforum.com. Got follow-up questions for Tom? Go to sparksmediagroup.com or scanyourspace.com. You can subscribe to the Sparks Media Group YouTube channel at Sparks Media Group. For all WGAN-TV podcast episodes, look for WGAN-TV in your favorite podcast app or go to WGAN-TV.com. Thank you for watching this episode of the WGAN-TV Podcast.